So today we're talking about everything there is to know about condos and townhouses in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and all the price ranges. And we're starting right now. Hey, my name is Sam Sansalone and I'm a real estate agent in the Hampton Roads area, and I do videos every week about living and moving to this area. So today we're talking about condos and townhouses. I've got a lot of people asking me about condos and townhouses, like for example, where are the best places to live, what kind of condos there are here, where are they located. So we're gonna get into some details. I'm gonna go through the map to show you some spots that I like a lot to kind of give you an idea of what you can expect when you look for condos and townhouses in this area. So we're gonna start with the northwestern section of Virginia Beach, but in this top northwestern corner here, you see where that red line border is. Up in this section, you have some various parts of the area. And as a general rule, Virginia Beach was built in different waves as more growth came to the area in different time periods. So you have a lot of houses in the north section that are built in the 50s and before that in the 60s and then 70s. And as we got further into the 90s and 2000s, more and more growth started happening in the south and southeast areas. And so more property, more new construction was built in down the south section here. The reason that matters is because you'll notice that the further north you get, like away from the beach, there aren't as many townhouses and condos. But it wasn't until like the 60s and 70s and 80s you'll start seeing a lot more condos and townhouses pop up, and they started sprouting up all over the place, all across the area, especially from the southern or the central section of Virginia Beach and down further south. But you'll see them all over the place. So looking at the northeastern section here, for example, you're gonna look at Chicks Beach. People that want condos along the water, Chicks Beach is a great spot to look at because you're often not paying as much for that access as you might be paying on the ocean front, but you're getting a lot of the same things. It's a smaller neighborhood feel, totally different than the ocean front, but in general there's some great condo options here, one of which I want to mention not just Chicks Beach itself, but is Ocean Park, which is just right near the Lesnar Bridge to the west here, and there are a couple of others just crossing over that Lesnar Bridge as well, called Lynn Haven Shores, Chesapeake House condos over here as well. And my point in saying that is that they're kind of the cheapest options in the $300,000 to $500,000 price range, but also getting access to the beach. So the big differentiating factor here with condos along the beach on the north side is how important is it for you to have water views? How important is it for you to have easy walkable access to the beach, whether it be on the beach or away from the beach, just off the beach? Those two things make a big difference as far as how much the prices will be for that specific condo or condo development. So the closer you get to the beach, often the more expensive it will be, especially as you get close to the water to where you can see the water, or you can just walk out and get to the beach. But as you go further away, closer to Shore Drive near Route 60, you start getting a little bit cheaper. Like you can see, for a house that's $550, $600 right near the water, condo near the water, you might get the same thing for $450, $475 down closer to to Shore Drive. Now on the water, some of these condos, like you might just have the view, but you're not like literally on the beach, and that's where it might get more expensive if you have a detached house over here closer to Chicks Beach. But in general, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 and up is where it gets into when you get into close to the beach, on the beach. And then as you want larger pieces of property, you will end up having to pay more, 6, 7, 8 and up. It does get up there depending on what your needs are, and especially 2,000 square feet and up. Garages, that comes into a factor, especially in the 6 and up range. But my point here is to say that along the beach, it starts getting a little bit higher in price. But coming off the beach, anything in this Bayside School District area, as far as price for what you're paying, this is an area to target. Cypress Point is a great spot to check out, as well as Sajo Farm, which is in that same general area in Bayside. If you want size and maybe a bigger house, like 2,900 square feet, you can get one in there like around 500,000 and then adding the condo fee on top of that. So then as you go further south, in this section, you will have more townhouses, like just townhouses that are literally you can get townhouses still in the 150, 175, 200 price range. And again, there are significant drawbacks and positives to that. One is the price, but you might be giving up a lot for it. So definitely keep the price element in mind when you're making some decisions. Check the crime, check the feel of the the area and determine what is the baseline for you if you're looking for something in that $200,000 or less price range. Now, shifting over to the central section, this is where you don't see as many townhouses, because this is all Little Neck. I've mentioned Little Neck in a lot of videos. I love Little Neck, but one thing to mention about Little Neck is it has lots of detached houses here. There are a couple spots that are worth mentioning that are real key to if you really want a townhouse style, called Kings Grant Landing. So you got Kings Grant, the larger Kings Grant area. I've talked about that a lot. I love it. But for in the $300,000 price range, right in this section, Sir Wilfrid and Prince William Court, this whole section here, those are townhouses. And so for the low to mid threes, you can get in a neighborhood that for a single family house, you may have to pay $450,000, $500,000 plus for. So you can get in that same neighborhood school district that you want for cheaper. So there's not much for townhouses and condos over here. But as you shift over towards the water, now in this area near Hobby Lobby, moving over from there, you'll start getting into Great Neck. A lot of condos over here. You'll start seeing them in the like upper twos, low threes, mid threes with condo fees. And so areas near the water, there are some you'll notice that are kind of maintained fine, but some aren't. But then I want to mention another spot that's off of First Colonial, just south here, right around South Hall Drive. This is South Hall Landing, this area here. This is an area townhouse style townhouses in the mid-ish threes. Brick, nice townhouses, nice spacious, with garages. Right off of First Colonial Road, you can get to Hilltop from here. You're not that far away from Oceana, excuse me, and you're about 20-25 minutes away from Little Creek. But that's a spot I would say like tucked in there right off the main road, but easy access to a lot of stuff. Jet noise becomes a problem here if that factors in for you at all. Another thing I want to shift over to is along the ocean. So if you want along the ocean, the prices in here are going to be, they can start mostly in the 3, 4, and 5s, but the ones that are lower often have real high condo fees, so don't be deceived by the lower price without factoring in the condo fee itself. And that's one general thing I want to mention here, is that when you look at the price of a condo, not townhouses necessarily, but the condos, that condo is often priced a little bit lower. It looks like, oh my gosh, I can get a nice condo for $425 or whatever, you know, whatever price we're talking about. But what you might notice is that the condo fee might be $600, $700, $800 a month. Some of them are only like $150, $250, $300, but a lot of them, especially near the water, are up in that $5, $6, $7, and $8 and higher. You might be getting different amenities there, but the point is that you might, for example, if you're getting $600 a month for a condo fee, that is the equivalent to about $100,000 of purchasing power. One helpful thing to note though for math purposes though is for $1,000 a mortgage, it's about between $5 and $6 a month for that payment. So if you have an HOA that's $100 a month, well, that will be about $17,000-ish of buying power that you're using by paying that HOA. So that's kind of the apples to apples comparison you can look at if you're trying to compare like how much am I really paying for what I'm getting. So around the beach, not too much here. There's a lot of hotels, but going down near towards Rudy Inlet, some other spots down here, you're gonna still be in the 4s, sometimes a little bit less than that. But again, this all comes down to the size of your condo, the amenities you're getting, how much you're paying for those things, and it influences the price, as well as access to the beach, because if you want access to the beach easily, that's where the prices start going up. So it's a couple in here near Rudy Inlet that are worth mentioning too. Now, separately, another thing I wanna mention, talking about condos here, is there is something called a no-fee condo. No-fee condos are pretty prevalent. They're often older structures, not all the ways, but they feel like they could be just twin homes, like two next to each other. There are usually condo docs that are given to you when you buy a condo to review before you purchase, and those condo docs have the financial statements, all the rules and regulations, all kinds of stuff in there that talk about what the condo association is like. Well, in this case, there's no really association, it's just you and the neighbor. There's no fee, so you might see a house that's $500,000 and older, kind of looks like a townhouse style, but it's a no-fee condo. That can happen pretty frequently, especially near the beach, even like around this Rudy Inlet area, near Shadow Lawn down here, or close to the central section of Virginia Beach in the areas like 25th, 26th, 27th. You'll see that sometimes, and really across any area near water, you might see a decent amount of no-fee condos. Something like attached, but walking distance, but not as close, can back off a little bit, maybe save a little bit of money and get into this Shadow Lawn area. There are some that are in that $250 $300,000 price range. As you get off there a little bit even further, closer to Bird Neck, that also might be a good option for you. Now, going further south, this is where it gets into more suburbia, and you'll see a lot of, like, Ocean Lakes is a good example of a big neighborhood that has a lot of townhouses in it. In-demand townhouses, big time. In the upper 2s, low 3s, you'll see, you know, some things that often rent really well as well, because the school district's right there. You're right near Oceana. This whole section though has lots of jet noise. I mentioned that before, so just keep that in mind. Foxfire is another neighborhood that is in the south area, smaller neighborhood with townhouses, below like 315, 320 range. But you're starting to see more newer townhouses down here, and you'll see a mixture of condos and townhouses. And there's also one neighborhood I want to mention that has a lot of nice single-family houses called Castleton. There's also a Castleton section with townhouses as well, so it's another thing in that the 3s range that you might be finding worth checking out. So depending on what your price point, there are different options here, but as you go further in the south central section, you'll start seeing more newer construction. There's an area called Spence Crossing that I do like. You'll find some that have good amenities in there if you do like having a lot of amenities. And the couple I like specifically, one of which is Glenwood. If you go further west from there, let's see this area, Glenwood right here. A lot of single family houses in here, but a lot of townhouses and condos as well. And you're also a part of the HOA, Glenwood HOA, that has a pool, community pool, and also you've got there's a condo spots that have some condo association benefits as well, separate from the other rest of the neighborhood. But in general, I like this Glenwood area a lot for what you're getting in the 2s, 3s price range, sometimes a little bit higher than that, but it depends on, again, the size of your house, what you're looking for. And then going back over to Indian River over here, there's one section that I have a lot of people asking me these questions a lot about condo. Like there's a certain type of house that looks interesting, like a 2-bedroom near Indian Lakes that has price points of like 160, 170. I'm like, wow, that looks great. You know, the houses look nice, or the condos look nice. But why they're so low, partly is because of the condo fees. They're over $400 a month. So that brings me to another point, is make sure when you see a house or a condo neighborhood that is priced a certain thing online, make sure you check the condo fees or the HOA fees if it's a townhouse, or either one, because it depends on the cost of the condo fee to see, hey, do you qualify? Because sometimes you can say, hey, I qualified to $400,000, but if I get a condo that's $390, the lender is going to factor that condo fee into that $390, and it will bump up your qualification, or up the amount that you're paying per month according to what the lender is saying, and it means that you might not qualify anymore if you have that $400,000 max. So it really depends on your qualification, but factor that in, because then if you like a house that's $300,000, for example, and you find a condo that has $300,000 but it has like $200 a month in condo fees, I would also look and say, well, what other neighborhoods that are priced in the $300,000 mark plus $200 a month, which could be around $330, let's find that number for a neighborhood or a townhouse that doesn't have a condo fee, and see if, comparing apples to apples, maybe you should also be looking at a little bit higher price range, but just with less fees and have the same payment. But again, remember, the fees factor into a lot about what your lifestyle will look like, because some of the things you're paying in the condo fee might be things you might be paying for already. So if you go too high to offset those condo fees and you get something with less fees, you might be paying more total, because the things you're paying in the condo fee, you'll be paying separately in the non-condo or the HOA or townhouse area. Now, some of those condos that are on the water, you might be getting more amenities, which is why the condo fees can often be higher. For example, you might get an elevator, you might get a full fitness center, security system for the building if it's an apartment style complex possibly. You might have access to a marina or a boat slip if you're near the water, which often happens in some of those spots. You might get laundry. You might also be paying flood insurance as well, depending on what area you are in, and that condo fee might cover that as well. As you go off the water, some of those styles might drop off, and you might get more things like tennis courts, swimming pool, trash pickup, water, sewer, sometimes those utilities that are often wrapped up in there. You might get a community center, like for example in Glenwood, common areas as well. Now, one thing I want to note also, there are a couple neighborhoods that have a concept I want to talk about. One is Cornerstone, a neighborhood in Virginia Beach, which I love. I love this area, but I'll tell you why I don't like it in a minute. Second place is Lexington Bluegrass, which is up over near South Plaza Trail, almost like smack dab in the middle of Virginia Beach as well. These two places are extremely nice. They're well manicured. I love these spots. They're decent, like nice size houses, 2,000 square feet, garages in a lot of cases, real nice. I love these. The big drawback here, and this is something that is more of the lesson here as far as how to do research for condos, is that they both have real high condo fees, over $400 a month total for HOA and condo together. The reason why they're so high is because they've gotten into contracts with the local cable company Cox Cable here. Cox will facilitate cable and internet for the entire neighborhood. You're basically paying in your fee that cable and internet package and often phone. So if you don't want that, you might be buying a house in an area that has something you might not be using. Great example of something that helps you say, hey, is this condo fee worth what I'm paying? Because is it helping me as a person with my life? So I love Cornerstone a lot, especially of the two. But in general, just know that when you do buy a condo, factor in what those fees are going to. And when you buy a condo too, you will get that condo docs so you can see all the things you're getting and what you're paying for. A couple other things to mention, some cautions about condos are the restrictions. There are a lot of restrictions for certain condos, especially along the water. But in general, one big thing people think of is when they think, oh, I'm going to buy a condo or a townhouse in Virginia Beach, I'll Airbnb it if I don't want to live there because it's the beach. It's a beach rental. That's that mindset. Virginia Beach is extremely restrictive on where you can do Airbnb rentals and how you can do them. Most condo neighborhoods will restrict them almost 100%. And if they do not restrict them, the city has requirements as to where you can and cannot rent Airbnbs as well. So that plays a huge factor. Please do not buy a condo or townhouse in Virginia Beach with the expectation of doing short-term rentals unless you do enough research to figure out if you can absolutely for sure do it, because there's a lot of criteria about that. These types of drawbacks can definitely influence the demand and the price of a certain condo development or HOA. So make sure you do this research before you move in or before you go through the entire process to make sure that what your goals for living in that condo or townhouse, or what the reasons you're buying it, are actually doable in that development. So if you have questions about condos or townhouses specifically in any part of Virginia Beach or the rest of Hampton Roads, let me know. I have my contact information in the description. You can also watch this video here for more information about Virginia Beach and the Hampton Roads area as well. And I will see you on the next video.